From claiming to beat the hell out of the Russian to going through hellish training with Israel Adesanya to take him down, Alexander Volkanovski reveals his real feelings on an Islam Makhachev rematch. And he's confident as hell that he can take the Russian down. Remember Makhachev and Volkanovski's bout at UFC 264? Yep, that one had the whole fight world on their toes. The fight was super competitive, and Islam ended up keeping the lightweight gold. Alex had a lot to say about his loss when he made an appearance on Logan Paul's Impulsive podcast. The Australian said he was excited to fight in his hometown and had a whole game plan to dominate Makhachev in the cage. The athlete was devastated when the fight didn't go his way because he was ready to have his moment. His loss took a toll on the whole crowd who was there to watch him win, but Alex is confident that a rematch would play out differently. Yep, he isn't gonna let this loss hold him back. The UFC star said, "I'll get the rematch, I'll win, and then we'll make a bigger fight, a bigger ending to that story later on." There's no denying that a Makhachev and Volkanovski rematch would break the internet. Their first meetup in the cage is still making headlines for being controversial AF. Yeah, the whole fight world is divided on who actually got the win. Judges gave it to Islam, but many fans don't agree. So of course a rematch is gonna make all the buzz and settle the score once and for all. Plus, Volka deserves a second chance at this, right? Considering how he gave Islam a run for his money, I can definitely see the rematch playing out in his favor. While talking about his loss, the athlete also went on about how he's more motivated than ever now. The loss was devastating, and Volka could have taken a hit, but almost everyone backed him up, and he's not taking it for granted. The athlete said everyone thinking he won made it easier for him to move on and focus on his next bout. He kept a hold on his pound-for-pound spot, so that's a plus too. Fans praised Alex for his performance in the ring, and he got labeled as Islam's toughest opponent yet. He knocked down his opponent several times and landed some tremendous ground and pound. Now that's not something to take lightly, right? Alex isn't too worried about a rematch, because he knows it's definitely in the cards, and he's got a game plan to make sure he walks out victorious this time. Islam better be trembling in his boots, because the rematch isn't going to be easy and he's got a lot of training to do. Yeah, he won the bout, but you can't tell me it was Islam's best performance out there. He fell short in the octagon, and he knows it too. Volkanovski said Makhachev's hungry for a rematch because he knows he lost. I can assure you, he's not the only one who thinks he lost. The man himself, Joe Rogan, believed Alex had an easy win over him. And you know we don't take Rogan's words with grains of salt here. This guy's been in the game long enough to know what he's talking about. Fans went as far as to call Islam's win a robbery, and many UFC fighters jumped on the bandwagon. Ask Bryce Mitchell about it. This guy thinks the judges took oil money from Islam to give him the win. Well, that's definitely one way to put it. You can take Mitchell's words lightly if you want. This guy's a flat earther after all. But this flat earther isn't gonna let anyone tell him Alex didn't win, not even the judges. I wasn't shocked when Volkanovski said Islam was going back to his corner saying he wants a rematch because he thought he lost. Volka ended up laughing it off and did say he could be wrong, but I'm not having any trouble believing him here. Even Khabib Nurmagomedov hit up Islam's phone to tell him he didn't put his best foot forward. Khabib's a mentor to Islam, so I'm sure that one hit him. Islam walked away with a win, but nothing much to be proud of because it wasn't impressive. Remember when the crowd booed him as he had his hand raised? Yeah, that was not fair to the athlete. It wasn't his fault the judges gave him the win, or was it? Let's not jump to conclusions. A rematch is in the talks, and Alex said he's ready for it. But the great isn't gonna wait around for the bout. Yep, the athlete's making a compromise to stay active. Don't get me wrong, Alex wants the rematch bad, really bad, but he's gonna take down some other guys in the meantime. He's not as hungry as Islam for the rematch because he walked out with his head held high, even after the loss. Plus, you gotta do what you gotta do to stay active, right? Alex is fine with switching back to featherweight before he can test the waters in lightweight again. I don't blame him. His skills shined when he went against Islam, and it would be a waste of talent if he sits around and waits for a Makhachev rematch. Don't get me wrong, he's still making a run for the double championship. But you know how the UFC works. Dana White always gets the last word, and he isn't seeing a rematch between Alex and Islam before the final quarter of 2023. Maybe they can headline the last event of the year, since Conor McGregor just kissed his chance of a comeback goodbye. That's on him missing the USADA deadline. Volka's getting ready to lock horns with Yair Rodriguez at UFC 290, and it's gonna be a big one. Not as big as the Makhachev versus Volkanovski, of course. The Australian also made it clear that he's about to face his most dangerous opponent yet. Yep, it's Yair. The athlete told Freestyle Bender, "I'll say Yair is more dangerous. It excites me. He's going to have these big threats and see how I deal with them." Volka thinks he's got more challenges than Islam. Yair's unpredictable in the cage, and he's always looking for a finish in the striking. If Alex can train to put up with it, Islam isn't going to be a threat to him. Volka's going to take full advantage of his rebound fight with Yair. He's got a game plan, and he aims to not only take Rodriguez down, but make sure he's ready for the rematch too. I mean, Alex knows exactly what he needs to do to get the win in their second meetup. There's a reason why the athlete is ready to fight Makhachev, anywhere, anytime. He went back and watched his fight with Islam to know exactly where he fell short in the cage. The UFC star said, "I definitely think I won 2, 3, and 5. I'll have to agree with him on this one. You can't tell me he didn't dominate those rounds like a beast." Alex went on about how he knew Islam was going to walk in with a lot of power, so he should have done more. Well, it's never too late, and Alex has got plenty of time to work on his weaknesses. The balls are in White's court, and he's got decisions to make. He's been playing around with the rematch, but fans want the fighters to run it back. Let's be honest, we all want to see how it would play out. Plus, at this point, it's a big-ass debate in the fight world. Who deserved the Makhachev vs. Volkanovski win? That question can start some heated conversations. UFC fighters are tangled in this one too. As soon as Makhachev got his hand raised, fighters were at it, picking sides and all. Kyle Prepolek said they fucked up the decision, and Leah Letson said she wants a rematch, ASAP. Alex is making big claims, and fans want to see if he'll be able to back them up. He's one to talk the talk and walk the walk, so we're expecting the best from him. Plus, did you look at his new camp? This guy is crushing it. A lot of fans thought he couldn't come through in the first fight because of a weak camp, but don't fret, because he's got that problem solved. What's a better way to become the best than training with the best? Yep, Alex is going through hellish training with Israel Adesanya. You heard that right. He's got Adesanya on the team, and the last style bender is the best he could get. Volka is about to face the most dangerous striker in the division, so Israel is his best shot. Craig Jones got their grappling department covered, and Joe Lopez is there to run the entire orchestra. Talk about an excellent team. Alex shouldn't have a lot to worry about once he gets out of this camp. He's gonna crush his fight with Rodriguez, and the rematch when the time comes. So there you have it, Fight World. From going through hellish training with Israel Adesanya to take Makhachev down, to claiming to beat the hell out of him. This was all for Alexander Volkanovski, revealing his real feelings on a Makhachev rematch.